Remember the game hide and seek? Well, what if we're all playing a game of spiritual hide and seek, but we've been looking in the wrong place? We've been taught to believe that our entrepreneurial hiccups and hesitations are due to a foggy vision. It's as if clarity is the holy grail of business success, and we're all Indiana Jones minus the hat. If you scroll through your social media, it's like a digital sermon on clarity. But here's the divine comedy. While everyone's preaching clarity, no one's really breaking it down to Bible study level. They don't tell us what it looks like, how to catch it, or how it feels when it's finally in our grasp. So there I was having my quiet time with the Lord the other day, and he decides to rewrite the script. He says, Denise, a lack of clarity is not the problem. It's not the missing piece of the puzzle for your entrepreneurial flock. Talk about a plot twist. I think my jaw hit the floor, and I did respond and said, okay, Lord, you've got my attention. What's the real scoop then? You may be surprised to hear what he had to say. Hey, Coach. Welcome back to the Coach by God Entrepreneur Show. I'm Denise 𝗙𝗨𝗏𝗃, self-proclaimed mama bear of the coaching industry, certified professional coach, mentor, consultant, tech trainer, and a faith-fueled business maven with a knack for turning chaos into gold. If you are ready to leverage your hard-earned coaching certification, get clarity, create ripples in the marketplace, build a business that glorifies God, and make money, this podcast is for you. You can find out more and connect with me over at 𝗕𝗀𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃. Ready to dig into today's show? Get ready for a dash of sass, a sprinkle of wit, a dose of wisdom, and a whole lot of no-nonsense strategies that will transform your life and your business. Let's go. Welcome back, Coach. In today's episode, I have 3 things that I will unpack for you. The first one is the real problem over 100 coaches needed solved, how to decide which way to go when making a decision on your niche, what is clarity, what does it look like, and how do you know when you have it? Coaches and often all types of entrepreneurs frequently find themselves in this cloud of uncertainty when it comes to their business's direction, goals, and purpose. The lack of clarity significantly hampers their ability to articulate their services, target the right audience, and establish a distinct brand identity. So let's crack open this nut called clarity. Most people think clarity is like having spiritual Windex. Everything's crystal clear. The other night, when the Lord decided to shake things up a bit in my thinking, he tells me that his people are not wandering around in a fog of confusion. It's that they're sitting on the fence of decision-making. Talk about a heavenly plot twist. This revelation sent my plans for this episode skidding into a new direction. Now, I still plan on dishing out some nuggets of wisdom on clarity, but first, let's dive into this divine truth bomb from the Lord. The main pickle for all my clients and those that I consult, it's not a clouded vision, but a case of decidophobias. It's the fear of making decisions. I've had heart-to-hearts with over 100 coaches in the last 3 years, and get this, only one, just one, knew her niche like the back of her Bible. The rest, all 99 of them, reminds you of a certain parable, doesn't it? Were like ships tossing in a sea of options. They weren't lacking clarity. They had a buffet of choices laid out before them, but just couldn't decide which dish to pick. Why? Well, there could be a few possibilities. Maybe the first one is they've got so much passion, it's like trying to choose a favorite hymn. Impossible. Maybe they're scared, stiff of picking the wrong path. What if it's a dead end? Or they're worried their choice won't turn the water into wine, financially speaking. So it turns out the Lord's on point, as always. His people aren't lost in the fog of clarity. They're simply stuck at the crossroads of a choice. Now, this brings us staring down the big lumbering elephant in the room, the art of making a decision. Let's face it, as humans, we all have a PhD in complicating the simple. Remember, God's not running a circus of confusion. He is a straight to the point kind of author. Meanwhile, our adversary, the prowling lion, is having a field day watching us play musical chairs with our decisions. So here's a nugget of truth, and this one might hurt. Deep down, you probably already know which path to choose. Chances are the Lord's already dropped a hint or two in your heart. But there you are, having your own Eve moment. Picture this, Eve in the garden, and along slithers Mr. Serpent with his sly, "Did God really say?" And just like that, you are second-guessing the divine download that you already received. Let's not get all tangled up in the serpent's tail of doubt. It's decision time, coaches. Isaiah 30, verse 21, tells us that whether you turn to the right or turn to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." God directs our steps when we seek Him and we want His direction. One of my favorite proverbs is Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. We tend to ignore the last "and" part of this scripture. If by chance you choose or have chosen the wrong niche, God will make it clear to you. Let's pause here for a moment because I can just see it now. Some of you are already preparing to pivot. Like I tell all my clients, let's stick with one choice for a minimum of 90 days. Now that's 3 months. It seems long, but it is really worth the time. So don't be in a rush because anything less than that is not enough time to pivot. That's 3 months of putting in the effort and work, not 3 months of sitting around waiting for clients to drop in your lap. It's not going to happen. Clients are not manna. All right, let's move on. Let's unpack clarity. This is needed because I don't see this being addressed on social media. Clarity truly has become a marketing buzzword. So what is it? What does it look like? How do you know when you have it? I believe that the 3 signs of clarity on the decision that you need to make for your niche include courage, confidence, and certainty. Now, these are all the byproducts or the benefits or the signs of having clarity. Courage. Courage is the first one. Courage and clarity might seem like distant cousins at first glance, but they're more like siblings in the grand scheme of things, especially from our Christian perspective. Clarity, in many ways, is like having a well-lit path in front of you. It's knowing not just where you're going, but why you're headed there. This understanding often comes from a combination of self-reflection, prayer, and seeking guidance from God. When you have clarity, you're like a sailor who knows his destination and the reason for his journey. Now, here's where courage steps in. It's one thing to see the path and understand it. It's quite another to walk in it. That's courage. Courage is the boots on the ground, the actual stepping forward on that clear path. It's Abraham picking up and heading out, not knowing where he's going, but trusting in God's promise. So in essence, clarity gives you the map and courage lets you follow it. It's like David facing Goliath. He understood not just the physical battle before him, but the spiritual one as well. His clarity and God's power and purpose gave him the courage to step onto the battlefield with just a sling and a few stones. It's Esther walking into the king's court, knowing full well the risk, but driven by a purpose greater than her fear. Clarity tells you this is the right thing to do. Courage says, I'll do it even if it's hard. It's the difference between knowing the truth and living it out. In Christian life, clarity comes from understanding God's will through prayer, scripture, and reflection, while courage is about living out that understanding, even when it's challenging or frightening. Courage is a sign of clarity because it is the visible, tangible action of an invisible, eternal certainty. I know that's a handful. Let me say it again. Courage is a sign of clarity because it's the visible, tangible action of an invisible, eternal certainty. It's faith and understanding in motion, a living testament to the clarity gained from one's relationship with God and understanding of His Word. Courage is not about puffing up your chest and charging into battle. No, it's more like a divine dance with faith as your partner. All right, so let's get some scriptural backing here. We all are familiar with Joshua 1:9. It says, "Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous, do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Now, that's not just a pep talk, it's a divine promise. It's God saying, hey, I've got your back, so go ahead and step out in faith. So courage is faith-wearing work boots, ready to march into the uncertainty, armed with the assurance that God's got the blueprint and He's leading the way. It's about trusting He is bigger than any Goliath you face, and knowing that your slingshot armed with faith is more powerful than it seems. Okay, let's move on to confidence. When it comes to confidence in choosing the right direction for your business, think of it like being Joshua leading the Israelites into the promised land. It's not just about having this big, bold business plan. It's about having the God confidence to know that you are marching in the right direction. So remember, confidence in business is not about wearing a flashy suit in a boardroom. It's more like having that quiet assurance of David with his sling, knowing what you've got and how to use it, backed by faith and a plan bigger than our own. 2 Timothy 1:7, I believe, hits the nail on the head. It says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." This really is a divine toolkit for business decisions. You've got the power, not just to conquer, but to innovate. You have love for what you do and those you serve, and you have self-control to keep you from making these rash decisions, pivoting too quickly, or chasing after every wind of trend. How do you know if you're confidently on the right track with your business? It's not about not facing doubts. Even Moses had his moments. I think it's about that inner peace, like Jesus sleeping in the storm-tossed boat. It's knowing you're in God's hands, even in the choppy seas of this crazy marketplace that we are currently in. I think high confidence in business might look like this. You're not constantly comparing your startup or growth to the other Goliaths that are out there. You're not nitpicking your competitors' every move. And instead, you're so anchored in your value and your purpose that you can focus on your own path and your own growth. It's about recognizing your unique calling in the business world, just as Paul recognized his in spreading the gospel. So let's go back to Matthew 7:24, verses 24 through 27. In summary, our Christian confidence in business is just like building our house on the rock and not the sand. When storms come and the markets fluctuate, you stand firm, not because of your prowess, but because of your faith in God's guidance and your commitment to follow it. It's one prayerful step at a time. Finally, let's move into the concept of certainty, especially when it comes to making decisions in faith and life. So think of certainty not as a high-powered telescope that's zooming in on every detail, but it's more like Peter walking on water. It's that step of faith with your eyes fixed on Jesus, not everything else that's going on around you. Certainty in our faith, or certainty, in having a Christian business, isn't about having all the answers like some sort of encyclopedia. It's more like having a trusty compass that always points to God, even when your intellectual GPS is saying rerouting, rerouting, rerouting. Certainty is an emotional state, sure, but it's one that's anchored in faith, and it's not just cold, hard facts. Now, the brain, bless its gray matter, loves to play a game of hide and seek with information, especially when our emotions are running high. It's like trying to read the Beatitudes during a thunderstorm. You're probably going to miss a few blessings. So certainty, in a way, is not about processing every bit of data, but it's about filtering through the noise to hear that still small voice. How do you know if you're in a state of certainty? It's not about having an ironclad business plan or a step-by-step guide for every decision. It's more about that deep-seated peace, like Daniel chilling in the lion's den, knowing God's got your back even when your brain is screaming. None of this makes any sense. So when you have a high certainty, you're not rattled by all of the waves of doubt or swayed by every wind of opinion. And let's face it, there is a lot of opinions online on social media when it comes to a coaching business. So you don't really have to choose to dissect every one of those scenarios like a Pharisee with a microscope. Instead, be so grounded in your faith and trust in God's plan that you can face any storms and Goliaths with a David-like confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you know the one who does. So again, it's like building your house upon the rock. Now, if you are a trained and or certified coach and believe that you are lacking clarity, please check out my Certified Coach's Clarity course. It is a mini course packed with a lifetime of priceless nuggets of wisdom for just $47. Choose your niche the biblical way and not the worldly way. Head over to my website, DeniseMilianta.coach, and take that leap of faith. It's priced at $47 because I know that you already have heavily invested in your coach training, and now you're looking to leverage your hard-earned certification without making another hefty investment. Be well, my friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Coach by God Entrepreneur. If this blessed you, please hit the subscribe button and leave me a review. I would be truly blessed if you shared this podcast with another coach. And remember, success in coaching is not just about what you achieve, but who you become in the process. Tune in for more insights and actionable strategies in my upcoming episodes. Stay connected, stay inspired, and let God lead the way to your coaching greatness.